Good morning and welcome to Fox 29's News Now on this Monday morning. We're going to get started in Mercer County, where a man is in critical condition after being shot by police in Trenton. Fox 29's Lauren Johnson filed this report.
Not many details, but what we do know this morning is the man was shot 2 times, at least once in the head, and brought here to the trauma center at Capitol Health Regional Medical Center. The unidentified man was involved in some unknown confrontation with Trenton police on the 1900 block of Calhoun Street around 4 p.m. when at least one officer fired the weapon. The man was shot at least once in the head, took another shot to the shoulder, transported here to the trauma center in extremely critical condition. Not sure if he would survive those injuries. Investigators have not yet released details about what led to the shooting. All we know at this point is the man did have a weapon and pointed it towards officers. Now, several agencies are involved in the investigation, including Trenton Police, Mercer County Prosecutor's Office. The New Jersey Attorney General's office is aware as this investigation continues. And of course, with so many agencies involved, they have to be much more careful about how they release information, especially since there was an officer involved in the shooting. So we are awaiting more details.
And more in local news overnight, a man has died and 2 women are injured after a triple shooting in the city's Kensington section. The shooter remains at large. Fox 29's Kelly Rule filed this report.
Police say this is a homicide and triple shooting investigation. 1 man died at the scene. 2 others, 2 women, were rushed here to Temple University Hospital, where they were listed in critical condition, fighting for their lives this morning. Back at the scene, though, this is what we know from police. They say they first got the call for multiple gunshots just before 3 a.m. on Indiana Avenue near D Street. They found all 3 victims shot in the roadway. At least 9 shots fired, according to police, at very close range to the victims. Here's Chief Inspector Scott Small.
There are Philadelphia police real-time crime cameras in the immediate area that did record part of this incident. We also found several other private surveillance cameras on businesses and on some other properties in the immediate area. So homicide detectives are going to retrieve those recordings.
The only suspect description that police have at this point is that it was a man wearing a reddish hooded sweatshirt. They say he ran from the scene west down Indiana Avenue away from D Street. This morning they are still looking for him.
And more in local news this morning. The Philadelphia police officer is facing several charges, including sexual assault. The officer has been identified as Novice Sloan from the 17th District. Police say the incident happened on August 8th, but they haven't released details just yet about what happened. Sloan is also facing indecent assault and simple assault charges. His bail has been set at $1 million. And Delaware County officials are asking for the public's help identifying a suspect. Haverford Township Police released this sketch of a man they say asked an 8-year-old girl if she wanted a ride Thursday afternoon. The girl says it happened near Overbrook Terrace and West Hathaway Lane. He is believed to be driving a light-colored Lexus SUV. If you recognize this man, you are urged to contact police. And in Newcastle County, a school board member for the Colonial School District is facing charges of sexual abuse involving at least 3 juveniles. Details of the alleged incident surrounding Ronnie Williams are unclear at this point. Police say more young victims may be out there and they want them to come forward. Counselors will be made available for students to discuss any concerns they might have. District officials, meanwhile, say they are very saddened for the alleged victims and the administration will allow the judicial process to run its course. For now, Williams is allowed to stay on the school board. And in Ocean County, New Jersey, police are asking for your help finding a man behind 2 attempted child lurings in Toms River. Police say a heavy-set, bald man who is white with facial hair was behind the wheel of this SUV spotted in this surveillance picture. The first incident occurred Sunday at the corner of Chippewa Drive and Apache Drive. The second incident happened nearby in the area of Shawnee Drive. In both cases, police say the man tried to get the children into his car, but they ran off and told their parents, who then called police. Investigators are now stepping up patrols in the area. And over in Lehigh County, the Diocese of Allentown says an 87-year-old priest recently admitted to sexually abusing a minor in the 1980s. Stephen Halliburra was ordained in 1961 and retired back in 2008. But he's been serving as a substitute priest. The diocese investigated the abuse and found the account credible. The priest is now barred from ministry. Meanwhile, here in Philadelphia, 13 people, including a child, were forced from their homes yesterday after part of a home collapsed in Germantown, and the area near the home is still very unsafe. It happened yesterday just before 12:30 on the 5300 block of Wayne Avenue. Police say the house was being renovated. A 52-year-old woman was injured as she was walking out of her house, and she was transported to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries.
Some of it had been coming down previous days. They was doing brickwork, and then the whole thing just every day a little bit more.
Crews say it's possible Saturday night's heavy rain and wind may have contributed to the collapse. The Red Cross, meanwhile, is helping everyone who has been displaced, a total of 5 families. And in Camden County, roads are back open after a storm ripped through South Jersey, causing heavy debris on the roadways. Wind and rain Saturday night downed trees and power lines, which shut down multiple roads, including Bedford Avenue near Chapel Road and Cherry Hill. Large chunks of Cherry Hill Boulevard were also shut down due to storm damage.
Stuff was flying all over the neighborhood. All you could hear was in our backyard trees cracking, crashing to the ground.
This morning, several Cherry Hill roads remain closed. And in your health news this morning, health officials are blaming black market marijuana for a string of vaping and e-cigarette deaths. The latest numbers, at least 800 people have now reported lung-related illnesses, possibly related to vaping and e-cigarettes. The CDC says 77% of those impacted reported using THC products as well as nicotine-based oils. Nearly 40% were only vaping THC. Doctors say the illnesses resemble an inhalation injury, with patients reporting shortness of breath, fatigue, and chest pain. The CDC says it's recommending people stop using all e-cigarette and vaping products, especially black market ones containing THC. And in political news this morning, House Democrats are planning a rapid start to their push for the impeachment of President Donald Trump, with hearings and depositions starting this week. Fox's Doug Luzader has more this morning from Washington.
It's full steam ahead for Democrats pursuing the impeachment of President Trump.
Another hearing already scheduled for this week, and one of the Democratic leaders say Congress has already gotten a deal to hear from that whistleblower who started this whole thing and got it rolling. Let's get down to Washington and Doug Luzader. Big news there, Doug.
Good morning. A lot going on. Congress is technically on recess this week, but this impeachment work is quickly moving forward.
The motorcade arrives back at the White House yesterday, and you can just make out President Trump returning after a round of golf. He was largely out of public view, but on Twitter, he let loose, targeting a federal whistleblower. Was this person spying on the U.S. president? Big consequences. That accuser, whose identity is still a mystery, may have made a deal to testify to Congress now about President Trump's phone call with the president of Ukraine, where he requested an investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden and his son Hunter.
We haven't set a timetable, except that we want to do this as urgently as possible.
Democrats on a fast timeline, but the administration is fighting back. White House aide Stephen Miller in a contentious interview on Fox News Sunday.
At some point, Chris, we have to focus on the real scandal, which is 3 years of deep state sabotage.
Democrats think public sentiment, long a concern, may be shifting in favor of impeachment, but for them, speed may be paramount.
If they don't get it over by February 3rd, which is the start of the presidential voting in Iowa, they're going to be in deep trouble.
Maybe why Democrats are talking about such an aggressive timeline here. I mean, they're talking about drafting articles of impeachment and perhaps even voting on them by Thanksgiving. It's just around the corner, basically. Back to you guys.
Now, what have you heard about this whistleblower asking or needing protection?
Right. There was a letter written by the attorneys from the whistleblower talking about this, talking about safety being paramount and so on, that there's been a bounty offered for that person's identity. Look, it's the biggest question in town right now. Who is this person? And, you know, it may not be all that difficult to eventually figure it out.
Oh, yeah, yeah. All right, Doug, we'll see you again tomorrow. 7:08 now.
And in consumer news this morning, CVS has announced it is suspending the sale of Zantac over concerns that the tablets may contain too much of a probable human carcinogen. Fox's Tracy Carrasco has more.
All right, it's 7:24. This was kind of shocking news to me because I take a Zantac quite a bit when I get heartburn.
Millions of Americans do.
Yes. So at least one drug outlet, CVS, has announced they're going to suspend the sale of Zantac. And Tracy, why?
Yes, well, CVS, as you said, they are pulling the drug off store shelves along with the CVS generic version of Zantac. This comes after tests earlier this month done by the FDA found trace amounts of a known carcinogen, which has been linked to cancer in some of the pills. So this carcinogen is called NDMA. They've found that it can be harmful in very large amounts. Even though they only found trace amounts of it in the drugs, they still want to investigate more. They still want to run more tests. And CVS, out of an abundance of caution, they are pulling the drugs off of store shelves. They say that if you want to return it, you can do so and get your money back. The FDA doesn't want people to panic, though, over this. They say that they want to do more tests to find out more, and they think you should maybe consider switching to another medication in the meantime. Of course, talk to your doctor about this, but that is their advice. Now, Sanofi, the drug maker of Zantac, did say in a statement, quote, "We are working closely with the FDA and are conducting our own robust investigations."
My goodness. All right.
Very scary.
I get mine at the Target across the street from my apartment that I'm in every day, or 2 or 3 times a day. So I guess I can still get it there. But it.
We'll see it. Yeah, we'll see if other places pull it off store shelves as
they
well. If they
will.
follow suit.
Tracy, I noticed on Instagram this morning that you put up some balloons. What is the is the new look behind you now? What is the new look?
The new look is all of the graphics, the new look of Fox Business. So when you head to the network, you're going to see a fresh new look across the board, across all of the shows. Still the same team of journalists, but it's just going to have a different look and a different feel. Same with our website, foxbusiness.com, and also the app. So check it out.
I will.
Everyone needs a new look every once in a while.
No, it looks good. I just took a picture. I think that Mike was wondering what I was doing, and I was wondering, I thought it was good. I thought it was cool, and I think it's interesting.
I do too.
So it's nice.
And you're selling water bottles. There you go.
Thank you, Tracy.
Freebies.
See, look at the free water bottles and mugs and stuff. All right, thanks a lot.
And moving on to your Fox 29 Weather Authority. The Philadelphia area is slated for a mostly cloudy Monday with seasonable temperatures before they shoot up by Wednesday to nearly 95 degrees. That's right, October, almost the mid-90s. Temperatures today, though, will reach a high of around 73 degrees, so much more seasonable for this fall. The forecast is expected to stay dry for the next several days, much like last week, with a mix of clouds and sunshine. And here we have a look at current temperatures in our area. A relatively chilly 50 degrees up in the Poconos, nearing the mid-60s mark over in Lancaster, PA, and nearing the 70-degree mark, 68 degrees here in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, it's a tad bit warmer down the shore, 71 degrees in Atlantic City and 72 degrees in Wildwood. And don't forget to download the latest version of the Fox 29 Weather Authority app that has the latest forecast right now. And we are going to take you over now to the National Council of Resistance of Iran, where they are holding a press conference. Stay with us.
And then the head of Khatam Garrison, Major General Ghulam Ali Rashid, is given the task along with Hajizadeh, and then the two deputies of the Aerospace Force Commander Hajizadeh, namely Mahmoud Bagheri Kazemabad and Saeed Alijani, in charge, respectively in charge of missiles and drone operations, are involved in that. Now, when they go to Khuzestan, to give you an idea, this is the Khuzestan's province right here. This is Ahvaz down south. This is Saudi Arabia. And the base that actually they got located is called Omidyeh. This is Ahvaz again on the satellite imagery. You can see here. This is Omidyeh. It's a small town, but it also has a military base that is located just north west of it. And this is a closer look of Omidyeh Garrison, Omidyeh base right here. This is where the forces were deployed at Omidyeh. That's about 85 kilometers southeast of Ahvaz. Now, what's the significance of Omidyeh base? The significance is that it was previously the regular Air Force's 5th Interceptor base. It dates back to the time of the Iran-Iraq War. And the regular armed forces, Southwestern Air Defense, are actually situated in Omidyeh. And units of the regular Army, Air Defense, and Air Force are actually stationed in the base. It's not an IRGC base, so that gives them a good cover. It is used as a tactical operation base for the attack on the oil installations by the IRGC. And so a section of this base was used by the IRGC Aerospace Force, commanded by IRGC Commander Amiri. And as I said, the presence of the regular Army forces there just gives them a good cover to conceal their operations, and so no one would focus on this base.
And our apologies, we are actually going to be switching over to Hooksett, New Hampshire, where Senator Bernie Sanders is holding a campaign rally. Stay with us.
Underinsured. And underinsured here is the key word. Because what politicians will tell you is, oh, you got insurance. Yeah, well, that insurance may be junk insurance, and it doesn't work for you, but you're insured. But you're not really insured. Okay? Question. Think hard about this one. How does it happen that when we're spending twice as much per capita on health care, 87 million people are uninsured and underinsured, and you pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs? How does that happen? Let me get some hands up here. Why does that happen? Yeah. Well, on the part of whom?
The insurance companies, the insurance companies, the pharmaceutical companies.
All right. But it's not just greed. What else? What else is it? I'll get some hands here. Yeah. Right here.
Power.
Good. You know how much the pharmaceutical industry has spent in lobbying and campaign contributions over the last 30 years? Something like $4 billion. And the result of that is you can walk into your pharmacist tomorrow, and the price of your medicine is double, and it's perfectly legal. They can charge any price they want. In fact, the evidence is quite clear that there's massive price fixing going on and corruption going on in the pharmaceutical industry. Anybody here dealing with diabetes? Or knows anybody? Okay, you taking insulin? Anyone taking insulin in the room? Yeah, you taking insulin? Okay. And on insulin? Okay. I took a trip a couple of months ago to Canada. Anyone know the differential in the price, same exact company, the price for insulin in Canada as opposed to the United States? Yes. We are 10 times more expensive. 10 times! And the reason is, what's the reason why? Well, that's one thing. But why? How did they get away with it? Because they get away with it because in this country they're all yes.
Yeah. In this country, the politicians own the government, and we would pay anything to stay healthy. Our health is worth our lives. So what can we do?
Well, what you can do, the answer is very simple. We are the only major country on earth that allows the drug companies to do anything they want. So tomorrow, if there was an opportunity to charge you $1,000 for a pill, if you were particularly sick, they had something, you needed it, why not? $1,000 a pill, and they do. Okay. Anything they want. Last year, the top 10 drug companies made $69 billion in profit. 1 out of 5 Americans, this is talk about insanity, cannot afford to fill the prescriptions their doctors write. So just take a step back. You're sick, you go to the doctor writes a prescription, can't afford the pill. What happens? You get sick, a baby dies, they end up in the hospital. They're great expense. So again, what you're looking at here is the corruption of the political system, which allows the drug companies, in this case, to charge us any price they want. Right now, all right, let's talk about healthcare in general. How's the healthcare system doing? I'm told by my colleagues in Washington, it's a great system, greatest healthcare system in the world. All right. Tell me about our healthcare system. Raise your hand. Let's hear stories. Yes, right here, sir. All right, can we get a mic to the gentleman? Yeah, there's a mic coming to you, sir.
Thank you. I became an American citizen in April so that I could vote in this election. You can probably tell from my accent that I'm from England, where we have social medicine, and although that system is slightly broken, it's nowhere near as broken or as corrupt as the system that we have in this country.
All right, because we don't see this on television. When you're sick in the UK, how much does it cost for you to go to the doctor?
Nothing.
Nothing. It costs nothing. Oh my God. And when you go to the hospital for a serious procedure, how much does it cost?
Nothing.
It costs nothing. Oh my word.
Prescriptions, you can pay a minimal amount that covers your prescriptions for the year.
That's the UK. Anybody here from Canada? Got any friends from Canada here? All right, in Canada, it was funny. I know many of you have gotten up to Burlington, and I was walking down the street in Burlington a couple of months ago, and we ended up having an impromptu town meeting. Walk down the street, Main Church Street. So we started talking. 50 people came around, and a couple of Canadians with it. And guy comes forward, and without going into all of the details, says, if you have heart transplant in Canada, and you spend a month in the hospital, how much does it cost you? Anyone know? Zero. Now, do you think most Americans know that? So what this campaign is about is doing nothing more, not very radical. I mean, the UK system is different than what I envision. I'm looking more at a Canadian system. But what we have got to do is think outside of the box, outside of what the media allows us to think, what Congress allows us to think. Is healthcare a human right? Okay, so let's deal with this. If it's a human right, the presumption is that every man, woman, and child, regardless of their income, should be able to get all the healthcare they need, right? All right, this person has cancer, that person has cancer. Both of them should be able to get the same quality treatment in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. Okay. So what it means and what exists in the UK, which is a difference, so that's a very heavily socialized system. And what exists in Canada, which is a difference, is more of a single-payer system, which I'm looking at, is this is what it means. It means no more premiums. Got it? All right, let's talk about premiums. See, I am being attacked by half the world because Bernie wants to raise your taxes. Okay. Because right now, as you know, healthcare in America is free. You don't have to pay anything, right? Everybody loves paying their premiums. Who wants to tell me about premiums? How much you paying on premiums? Yes, ma'am. Okay, that's $200 a week. That's about $10,000 a year. Give the woman. Okay. All right, I'm not going to ask you your income. I don't care, but I would assume that it is a good. That's $10,000 a year. Do you have any co-payments?
Yes, for the normal co-payments. My son has type 1 diabetes, and so our prescriptions are astronomical. It's $600 a month for his prescriptions and supplies.
So that's $7,000 a year for prescriptions on top of $10,000 a year for premiums.
Yeah, I reached the max deductible at $6,000, so I had a little bit of a break.
Okay. Thank you. All right, that's one example. That's what she is paying. Other people, ma'am, right there.
Actually, I just want to follow up on that. Can we also add in
Grab the mic.
To follow up on
Stand up if you could.
To follow up on what you're paying. So we already discussed premiums and prescription costs, but how about co-pays for regular doctor's appointments to follow up, lab costs, and the deductible for your policy? Because I imagine, I don't know your policy, but I imagine that's another probably $5,000 or $11,000 for the out-of-pocket family maximum.
Okay, so you got all, and then you got situations. A good friend of mine who has good, he works with me in the Senate, and he has good health insurance. And lo and behold, he had a procedure that he needed to do. Turns out that particular procedure was not covered. It cost him $3,000. Again, not unusual, right? You think you're covered. Anybody have that experience of thinking you were covered and finding that you weren't covered? All right. Point being, this is what the debate is about. And I should also add in there, you'll all be delighted to know, that last year, while so many people are uninsured or underinsured, the healthcare industry made $100 billion in profit. Pay their CEOs extraordinary amounts of money. Okay? What this whole debate is about is not anyone rationally trying to defend the current healthcare system. You can't defend it. It is so dysfunctional and so broken, it is indefensible. What is going on is the healthcare industry is making huge profits. The drug companies are making huge profits, and they love the status quo. They don't care that 30,000 people died this year because they didn't get to a doctor on time. That millions of people cannot afford their medicine. Not a problem. They're doing phenomenally well. So once again, this comes down to a clash between the needs of ordinary people and the profits of the healthcare industry. And when you make $100 billion in profit, and you take 1% of that profit, not very much, what's $1 billion? And you put that $1 billion onto TV ads and radio ads and newspaper ads, and you buy think tanks, and you have all these guys going up on television who you pay. This is what we are up against. It's not a debate about health care. It's simply a question of whether we can defeat the power of the drug companies and the insurance companies. All right? And I think we can. All right, anybody else want to say anything on health care? Yes, sir.
Yes. When the Affordable Health Care Act was enacted, that year, the insurance companies gave Congress over $800 million, and only 536 members of Congress, and I'm sure they didn't give you any. And we wanted universal health care. What did we get? We got compulsory insurance, the exact opposite. You know, that 13,700 registered lobbyists spent $3.4 $2 billion last year. That's the root of all the problems we're talking about. How do we break that?
That is what we should. And it gets back to the very first point that I made. It is a corrupt political system dominated by the greed and corruption. Very powerful. And that is what this campaign is about. Okay? And that, what differentiates my campaign from others, it's not that the other candidates, Democrats, are not good people. I know them virtually all of them. Good, solid people, trying to do the best. But what I am telling to you, which is hard, probably costs me votes. What I'm saying is, I'm not here to tell you, vote for me, and I'm going to do all of these things. What I'm saying is that the message of our campaign is we need a political revolution, and it is us, not me. And the reason I say us, not me, is because it is my very strong view, based on some experience, that no president of the United States, not Bernie Sanders, or anybody else who is honest and well-intentioned, can do it alone. You think you're going to walk into the pharmaceutical industry and say, look, you're killing people. Stop your greed, and I demand that you stop your greed. Well, the president will have a lot of power. Believe me, we will. But the only way that you bring about change is when millions of people stand up and demand it. So in this campaign, what this campaign uniquely is about, and that's where I began. I began by saying, yeah, I want your vote. Got to win here in New Hampshire, very important. Got to beat Trump. But if we're going to deal with these issues, we need millions of people united, telling the Congress that we're going to make them an offer they can't refuse. And that is, they're going to stand up to the corporate greed and corruption, which is destroying this country, or else they're getting out of office. And that's what we're trying to do. So I'm here to ask you not only for your vote, but for your help in taking on the corruption and greed which exists all over corporate America. And it's rampant. Just stop and think about it. 11 years ago, as a result of the illegal behavior and the recklessness of Wall Street, the whole American economy was almost destroyed. And what did Wall Street get? What kind of punishment? One of your kids goes out, sells marijuana, and that kid will have a criminal record. Do you think any CEO has a criminal record for their illegal behavior, which they pay, by the way, billions of dollars in fines? They have paid tens of billions of dollars in fines for illegal behavior. And their punishment was to get bailed out by you and to get trillions of dollars in zero-interest loans from the Federal Reserve. Because they are the power, and that's what ends up happening. And today, Wall Street made $110 billion in profit last year, doing phenomenally well. All right? Talk about the drug company. I want you to follow this issue. And I know this state, my state, but your state more, has been hit very hard by the opioid epidemic. Okay? I realize that. I know hundreds of people have died in this state. There's a lawsuit now, I think many of you have followed, where Johnson & Johnson, Purdue, I guess other companies as well, that manufacture these opioids, are now being sued by attorneys general from all over the country, almost all the attorneys general. And here is the charge. I want you to think about this. The charge is that these companies, Purdue, Johnson & Johnson, knew that the product that they were selling was addictive. They were aggressively selling that product, not to people who were dealing with severe pain, but the number of people who were buying that product was a lot more than people dealing with severe pain. In other words, they were pushing, you got heroin. I just talked to a police officer. You got a problem with heroin in this community, all right? In this state, we have it in Vermont. Those are drug pushers who are pushing heroin. They were pushing another form of opiates. These are CEOs of major corporations. Knowingly. It's one thing if you do something, you don't know that the product is addictive, right? They knew it. And they made billions of dollars in the process. You got another issue. I want you to think this is thinking outside of the box. And the reason I say these things is not to depress all of you, but to tell you the severity of the problem and what we have to do to address it. Let's talk about the fossil fuel industry. If you take a step back, you know that every fossil fuel company has scientists who are serious people. And what the scientists have told companies like ExxonMobil and other companies is that the product they happen to be producing, which is carbon emissions, is destroying the planet. So what do we do if you are producing a product that is destroying your community and you continue to do it? How do we regard that company? What are they? Again, it's one thing if somebody did not know, and maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago, there was a debate about it. That debate is long over. The scientists at ExxonMobil know it. What ExxonMobil did, among others, is take money, put it into quote-unquote think tanks to obfuscate the issue and say, well, we're not really quite sure why climate change is taking place. Maybe this, maybe that. ExxonMobil knew exactly what we're doing. This is the kind of greed and corruption we're dealing with. Use Wall Street as an example, the drug companies, the fossil fuel industry. This is where we are as a nation. And in my view, the only way we begin to address this crisis is when millions of people get actively involved in the political process around a progressive agenda. And that's what the campaign is about. So what are we fighting for here? We're fighting to say that if you work 40 hours a week in New Hampshire, Vermont, or in America, you should not be living in poverty. We're going to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. And here is where we are making progress and how change takes place. I want to give you some good news. 4 years ago, when I was here and I said that, it seemed to be a radical idea. You know what's happened since? Because people have latched onto it and fought for it. 7 states have raised the minimum wage to $15 an hour. As has the United States House of Representatives. Okay? You know why? Because when you bring an idea out, Nelson Mandela said something very profound. He said, it always seems impossible until it happens. Okay? So we brought the idea, it seemed so radical, and then all the country workers stood up and they said, yeah, that's right, we need at least $15 an hour. Sweeps the country. Give you another example of how change takes place. And I say all of these things because we can deal with the drug companies. We can deal with Wall Street. We can deal with the fossil fuel industry if we stand together. Another example. 4 years ago, came to New Hampshire and I said, you know what? The world is changing. Technology, education are changing. We need to make public colleges and universities tuition-free. 4 years ago, oh my God, it's a radical, he's crazy. What is he talking about? Can't happen. There are now 12 states in the country that are moving exactly in that direction. And just a couple of weeks ago, in New Mexico, I have no idea who the governor of New Mexico is. I don't know. Democrat, Republican, I don't even know. New Mexico decided that for all the residents of New Mexico, they will make public colleges and universities tuition-free. NYU Medical School, Cornell Medical School, Columbia University Medical School, now having tuition-free. And there's no doubt in my mind, zero doubt in my mind, that within a certain period of time, we will have public colleges and universities tuition-free in America. Okay, because that is what people want. And people begin to move, and the politicians have got to follow. But again, this is an example of an idea going out there. It catches on. It brings about change. And by the way, while we're on the subject of higher education, we're going to cancel all student debt in America. And we're going to pay for that through a tax on Wall Street speculation, whether they like it or not. All right, I've been asking you questions. We've got to get going soon. So anybody have a question for me? Yes, ma'am. There's a mic coming to you.
Hi, Senator, I'm a very committed environmental voter. I just have a quick question on, have you got a short list of people that you are using as advisors or would want to see in positions of power?
We have more than a short list. We have a long list. We have, again, there's almost no time to go into any issue with Lyndon. I am very proud to tell you that the climate change proposal that we have introduced, I don't know if you've seen it, is the most comprehensive proposal that anyone, any candidate for president, I think any candidate for federal office has ever introduced. And I've been criticized for it because it's very expensive. But I think when you're playing for the future of the planet, I'm not quite sure what the alternative is. I would not be telling you the truth if I said that I sat down and wrote that long proposal myself. It is written with the help of some of the smartest environmentalists in the country. And basically all that we did is listen to the scientists. And we're the only campaign that has done that. And the result of that is the scientists tell us, as you know, that we have a dire, dire situation where if we don't get our act together in the very, very short future, near future, there's going to be irreparable damage done to the planet. You know what's going on right now. So what I have said, yeah, I am criticized. This is a $16 trillion proposal over 10 to 15 years. That is a lot of money. And we pay for it in a variety of ways. But I get criticized for this. But what I'm saying to people is we have a moral responsibility to make sure that the planet our kids and grandchildren inherit is a planet that is livable. I don't know what the alternative is. What are we supposed to do? So you got Trump denying the reality of climate change. You got my moderate friends who are saying, well, yeah, it's real, but we can't do this, we can't do that. And you got the scientists telling us, hey, yeah, you're going to see major cities in America partially underwater. You're going to see more forest fires, more drought, more extreme weather disturbances, which we are seeing, every week. You also saw what happened in the Bahamas. You saw the flooding in Texas. You know what happened in Puerto Rico? Right now, as we speak, there's a major forest fire going on in Bolivia. Heat waves throughout Europe. Yeah, I kind of think we have to address the issue. And what I will say on that issue is that what makes it even more complicated, it's not an American issue. This is a global issue. So tomorrow, we can do all the right things, and Trump is, of course, doing all the wrong things. And then we still got to work with the rest of the world. So my message as president to countries around the world would be, instead of spending $1.5 trillion every year on weapons of destruction designed to kill each other, maybe let's pool our money and combat our common enemy, which is climate change. Okay. Yes, woman right here. Get her mic. Yes, right here, ma'am.
Thank you so much. So my last 3 jobs have been, I've worked at a public housing authority, I've worked with the city department on housing, and I've worked as a director of a student-run homeless shelter. I know, first of all, that a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters would be with us still today if your Housing for All, your plan was in place. So I want to thank you so much for giving me hope in the work that I do. But it's not just your Housing for All plan. Justice, housing justice, and justice for the homeless is also built into your plan for justice and safety for all. It's also built into the Green New Deal. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about how you approach bringing justice to the homeless community and making sure that housing will be a fundamental human right for all Americans.
Thank you. Piper? Okay, thank you. Thank you for the work you're doing, by the way. Let me just pick up on Piper's point. I go all over the country, and man, in almost every state, not every state, not every community, but you would be shocked to learn how serious the housing crisis is in America today. People don't know that. It's something we just don't discuss enough. In Los Angeles County, 55,000 people are homeless in Los Angeles County alone. Okay? Tonight, there'll be 500,000 people sleeping out on the streets or in emergency shelters in America, including some 30,000 veterans. But it's not only homelessness, and I will deal with homelessness in a moment. It is just the cost gentrification and the cost of housing in general. So we got people all over America who are paying 50%, I'm talking about millions of people, paying 50% of their income for housing. Now, how the hell do you pay 50% of your income and have money left over to do anything else? Okay? So we got a real crisis, and what Piper is talking about, we have introduced, again, what I believe is far and away the strongest housing proposal of any candidate running for president. And what it does, through a variety of ways, is address the homeless crisis by building not only affordable housing, but low-income housing. Low-income housing. And there is no way that we can address the housing crisis for lower-income people unless the government plays an active role, because by definition, what kind of developer is going to make any money by building housing for low-income people? You can't make it. They don't have any money. So we build millions of units of low-income and affordable housing. We expand a program that I helped introduce in the House. It's called the National Low-Income Housing Trust, all right, which the Obama people put a few $100 million into, not enough. We greatly expand that program. The truth is, there is very little low-income housing being built in America. Our proposal says that if you are a developer, you're also, when you're building your fancy housing, you're also going to have to build a certain amount of affordable housing. We do something else that we actually did first in the country when I was mayor of Burlington, and that is a community housing trust, community trust program. Are you familiar with what that is? It is the program we started in Burlington. We were the first municipality in America. It is now spread all over the country, and it's spreading actually all over the world. And what it says is if you want perpetually affordable housing, what you do is you have a trust. And the trust owns the land in which your house is on. You own the house, the trust owns the land. You do anything you want with the house like any other landowner, but when you sell that house, you can't get market price. You'll make a profit, but it is controlled because we want to keep that housing affordable. And actually in Burlington, in that area, I think per capita, we probably have more homes and apartments in the trust than maybe any place else in the country. I'm not sure of that, but I think it's likely. It's been very, very successful in controlling the cost of housing. And also, when I talk about, it's not only the Green New Deal, it is also infrastructure. When I talk about infrastructure, it's not just roads and bridges, it is precisely affordable housing. And think about it, if we build the millions of units of affordable and low-income housing that we need, you're going to create a heck of a lot of good-paying union jobs. So thank you, Piper, for the work you're doing, because we are not paying enough attention to the crisis in housing in America. And again, I go all over the country. You go to towns like Greenville, South Carolina, who knew? Gentrification, rents soaring, people can't afford it. Okay? It's an issue we have got to deal with, and we intend to do that. Okay, yes, sir. Yeah.
My name is Bill Johnson. I work with the Kent Street Coalition.
You work with what?
The Kent Street Coalition in Concord, New Hampshire Rights and Democracy.
Good.
I'm here today, though, to represent the New Hampshire Coalition for Workplace Democracy.
Great.
And one of the things I wanted to ask you about, I supported you in 2016 because number 3 on your economic agenda for America was building worker cooperatives. And I'm wondering why, when you're asked to make speeches about democratic socialism, you don't explain that socialism means workplace democracy.
It's one of the issues that we will talk. We are talking about a whole lot of issues, but the idea of moving toward giving workers the option, we have introduced several pieces of legislation. And here's what your name is.
Bill Johnson.
Bill. All right. Bill is talking about something very important, and that is right now you have companies, for example, where an owner will shut it down and move to a low-wage country. You have situations where workers would like to own the company that they're working in, and their employer in some cases would like to give it to them, but there are not the financial mechanisms that make it easy to do that. So to answer your question, we have introduced several pieces of legislation. It is something that I am very sympathetic to, and it is one of the things that we will talk about. But my speeches can only go on for an hour at a time, so otherwise people walk out the door. I see. All right, gentleman right there. Yes, sir.
Harold Rosen from Allenstown, New Hampshire. Regarding the opioid crisis in our tri-state area, New Hampshire, Vermont, and Maine. Would you consider lottery reforms for the tri-state area to fund residential campus recovery centers outside of the depressed cities to provide comprehensive services to chronic addicts?
Well, I'll look at all options, and we need to do an infinitely better job in terms of treatment. Addiction is a very, very difficult issue. It is hard to break that addiction, and we need to look at all options. Vermont is doing a fairly good job on that, but not good enough, nor is the country doing well enough. So I am prepared to look at any and all options which will help us, A, prevent the problem. You know, we got to also ask ourselves, and I did a town meeting at the largest high school in the state of Vermont last year. It was really interesting, asking kids about why they do drugs and so forth. And so it was a very interesting discussion. Among younger people, and I know this is a broader issue, we could spend 5 hours talking about it, there's a lot of anxiety and stress and depression that goes on among young people in this country. And sometimes drugs are an easy way out for them. So we've got to do a hell of a lot better job in terms of prevention, which talks to the need for mental health counseling, and also, obviously, the treatment. All right, maybe one last question. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Elizabeth Pratt. I'm a retired guidance counselor. I think our biggest threat to our country right now is our president, and I can't even say his name very honestly. Could you speak a little bit about the impeachment inquiry and how long you think that process would take?
Thank you. I should have actually. I apologize for not even mentioning that. Kind of, I have the same feeling as you do. Unfortunately, my job indicates I have to. All right. Look, in my view, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. Among many other things, I think he is perhaps the most corrupt president that we have ever had. I think, and I'm not a psychiatrist here, but I think you have a president, a human being, a person, who sees the function of life is accumulating wealth and power. And I think as a business person, that's what he did. So he was involved in thousands of lawsuits because he lied all the time, broke contracts all the time. And I think he carried that mentality into the White House. So things like the U.S. Constitution, the laws of the country, not particularly important to Donald Trump. So I think we see the House now looking at a number of possible articles of impeachment, including obstruction of justice regarding the Mueller investigation, the emoluments clause. I mean, this is a guy who's very blatant. You would think, presumably, if you're worth $1 billion, or whatever you're worth, you would not be worried about making more money. You might want to pay attention to being president of the United States. It's kind of a difficult job. You have to focus your attention on it. But he is pretty blatantly, it seems to me, using his office to get people to go to his hotels and his resorts and making more money. And then you got this Ukrainian business, where, it seems, based on what I have read, is that he used his office and national security money. This is money designed to protect the American people by providing aid to the Ukraine, and use that as leverage to try to get dirt on a political opponent. That means you're involving a foreign country very blatantly in U.S. elections, which is obviously against the law. So, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now, what I think will happen is, not in the House, so I'm not privy to everything that's going on. I think they're going to move it pretty quickly. I don't know how many articles they will explore. I think the Ukrainian thing is at the top of their list. And what we have got to do here is, if they, in fact, have the votes to impeach him, I suspect they do, but it depends on the facts that come out. It goes to the United States Senate, where I sit. And all I would say on that is that I would hope that Mitch McConnell, who is the Republican leader in the Senate, will move the trial as rapidly as he can, because I don't think this is something the American people want to see dragging on month after month. They want it to be done, And the other thing that I would say, if I might, and this is very political, but this is what I believe, is it's one thing to have Trump as president. But what has really astounded me, and I think many Americans, is the more or less collapse of the Republican Party. And has become so subservient and so fearful of this demagogic president. I know all of the Republican senators, one level or another. And believe me, not all of them are liars, and not all of them are racist, and not all of them are sexist, and not all of them are demagogic. They're not. And yet the degree to which they have caved in out of fear to Trump is really, really quite frightening and tragic. And I would hope that if this process comes to the Senate, that the Republican senators, and they are the majority, and we need 2/3, you understand that? We need 2/3.
And that is going to do it for us today at Fox 29's News Now. Be sure to catch us again tomorrow at the same time, 10 a.m., and follow us at fox29.com, as well as our mobile app and across social media. And thank you for joining us this morning.